to sit next to you, sir.
And then we have member De Leon from
on?
King City also.
Oh my
participating. And I see him there. Okay, very good. Sorry for the- and then we have, we'll make it up because due to the topic, we decided to pull the item from the main agenda that was discussed on the committee to come back for later date. There wasn't consensus to move forward at the full board yet.
Yeah.
It was the bus stop policy.
Oh, God.
Yeah, but he can recognize things are bad.
We're asking the cities for money, so.
It's a really good opportunity.
Good. I think especially when you think about it.
What?
I included him on an issue, so I do try.
I don't think so.
That's, I'm sure I do it. Post up here, name recognition stuff.
We're live. Mics are live. Broadcasting, so don't say it unless you want it repeated. Good morning, Mr. Sonia.
Good morning.
Good morning, so we're just getting settled in. A few minutes.
Yeah, that's.
Everyone, good morning. Good morning. So I will call this meeting to order at 10:12. And this is our regular meeting of Monterey Salinas Transit District Board of Directors of February 12th of 2024. Good morning and thank you everyone that is joining us here in the boardroom and those that are joining us via Zoom. Today we have a couple of announcements. We do have some directors that are joining us remotely. So today we have Council Member Carlos De Leon, who's the alternate for the City King Mayor Director Labar, who's joining us remotely from the King City Council Chambers located at 212 South Vanderhurst Avenue in King City. We also have Director Luis Alejo, who's joining us remotely from the Washington Hilton located at 1919 Connecticut Avenue, Northwest Washington, DC. And we also have Councilmember Orlando Orsonio, who's an alternate for Director Tony Barrera from the City of Salinas, who's joining us today. So just a couple of announcements during today's meeting. The public has several options to participate. Join us in person in the board conference room. You can also join the meeting via Zoom. The meeting ID is located on the agenda. But for today, it's 845-0083-6234. The passcode is 652252, which is our standard ID and passcode for the meetings. You can also join us via telephone at 1-669-900-6833. Use the same meeting and passcode. For public comments made either in person or via Zoom or via email, the written comments needed to be submitted by February 9th by 3 p.m. Just some reminders for public comments and for our speakers for today. MST is committed to civility and is mindful of its responsibilities to protect the work environment, to assure civility in its public meetings. The public is encouraged to engage in a respectful dialogue that supports freedom of speech and values diversity of opinions. Failure to engage in respectful dialogue will forfeit the speaker's right to participate in public comment. So with that, can I please, Jeanette, can we have a roll call?
City of Carmel by the Sea.
Here.
City of Delray Oaks.
Here.
City of Gonzales.
Here.
City of Greenfield.
Here.
City of King.
Here.
City of Marina.
Here.
City of Monterey. City of Pacific Grove.
Here.
City of Sand City.
Here.
City of Salinas.
Here.
City of Seaside.
Here.
City of Soledad.
Here.
County of Monterey.
Present.
Okay, Chair, you have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. So our next item on the agenda, if we can please stand for our pledge of allegiance, and if I can ask Director Fisher if you can join, if you can lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And I'll turn this over to Mr. Carl Sidoric, who'll give us a review of the highlights for today's agenda.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Among the normal consent items and recognition items, we also have on item 3.7 an update to MST's conflict of interest codes. We also have reappointment of committee members Sid Williams and Kevin Dayton to new terms of the Measure Q Oversight Committee. And we have some surplus tire rims that are no longer needed by MST that we would like to put into basically surplus, and then we may be able to actually resell those. Then under action items, we have a progress update that's going to be coming back to your board on a, I believe, monthly basis from here on out on the Surf Busway and Bus Rapid Transit project. In this particular update, we're also going to authorize me to execute an agreement with TAMC for long-term use of the branch line for the construction and operations of the surf. We are going to pull, as staff is requesting to pull item 5.2, the inactive bus stop removal policy based on discussions at the committee level that went on fairly extensively. We'll be coming back at a later date with that input from the committee to your full committee. That really, let's see, I believe we have a couple of closed session items, 3 closed session items. One of which is regarding property negotiation between MST and the city of Seaside, and then labor negotiations between MST and our employee association that represents staff employees, and then a conference with legal counsel with regard to a threat of litigation. That concludes my review of the larger items on the agenda.
Thank you for the review on the items on the agenda. So we'll move on to our next item, which is our public comments on matters not in the agenda. So at this time, any member of the public may address the board of directors on items not appearing on the agenda. Speakers shall have a limited of 3 minutes. Please be brief and to the point. Again, the public is encouraged to engage in respectful dialogue that supports the freedom of speech and values diversity of opinion. Failure to engage in respectful dialogue again will result in speakers being muted or required to leave. As a reminder, to make public comments on Zoom, please use the raise hand feature that's at the bottom of your screen so we can unmute and recognize you. The board, as you know, will not respond immediately to the public comments, but may choose to follow up through staff at a later time. So at this time, I will open it up for public comments for those that are joining us here in our boardroom.
My name's Sal Cardinelli. Cardinelli family, we own commercial property at 1022 Broadway in Seaside. It's next to Mia Tierra, which is a supermarket, good sized supermarket, and on the corner of Fremont and Broadway. And we're next door to Mia Tierra. The bus stop that's there in front of our commercial building has taken away 3 spots. And now we don't have any off-street parking. And we do have a parking lot, but the issue is that we have Domino's Pizza there, and we also have a Mexican restaurant there, and also a banquet room there. And we need the parking, we need the off-street parking for delivery trucks that come and deliver to Domino's Pizza, and also the Mexican restaurant there. We need it for customers, and of course, we need it for employees. The issue is that Domino's Pizza is a delivery and pickup business. And they have 4 employees that do delivery. And we need that off-street parking for them also to park their vehicles. So they're not parking in our parking lot, which is very small. We were never informed. We've been there for 65 years. We were never informed about being a bus stop there. Landlords were never informed ourselves and also our tenants. And we felt why we were never informed. When it started, we noticed that there was going to be a bus stop there. I called personally and they told me over the phone, we received a grant and we needed to put a bus stop anywhere. I said, well, that's nice, but we would like to have been informed about it. And we never were. So basically, that's kind of what we're looking at in reference to we need the parking. We don't have off-street parking. We had a liquor store there 50 years ago, and we didn't have a parking lot. So that's all we'd have was basically off-street parking. And then we lost it with the bus stop. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Cardinelli, for your comments. We'll have staff follow up.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional public comments from those that are joining us here in our boardroom? Okay, seeing none, then I will take it out to those that are joining us via Zoom. And I do see two hands raised. Let me put on my glasses, I apologize. Lawrence Walker, if you can please unmute yourself.
Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, good morning, MST Board of Directors. My name is Lawrence Walker. I'm the Vice President of Student Services at Monterey Peninsula College. Many of us know it as MPC. And on behalf of Superintendent President Dr. Fulbright, our employees, and most importantly, our students at MPC. We'd like to express our sincere gratitude to the MST Board of Directors, Carl Zadoric, Michelle Overmeyer, and other MST leadership for establishing transit line number 8 at the MPC main quad. This new line reinstates a drop-off and pickup point at the top of Costanoan Drive near the main quad on the MPC campus. With so many competing priorities and interests, and we heard those earlier, we realize and understand that these are not easy decisions to make. Yet your leadership found creative ways to address the interests of our college, and again, most importantly, our students, to reinstate service to the main quad area at the MPC campus. Our students utilize this to a high degree, and they've been at your board meetings expressing their interest in maintaining that service. So again, MPC values our longstanding partnership and relationship with MST and looks forward to continued collaboration to meet the needs of our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Walker, for your comments. I will move on to the next hand that I see raised. I don't see a name, but it's a 582 number, 582
1705.
21705.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, directors. This is Lorna Moffett. And I would like you to look into why the planners cannot bring back line 24 from the plaza with all the extra money they have received from Measure X, 38.3 million to Carmel Rancho. They should be able to afford a van to take persons directly via Route 1 to the Rancho and on to Carmel Valley, greatly reducing the time lag by more than half an hour. MST has informed me that they haven't received this money, so I think this needs to be investigated as to why. Dina Smith is the one who told me this, and I have it in writing. I voted for Measure X, and this is my hard-earned money, so where is it going? It really needs to be investigated. And they're also lying. I hate to use that word, but they are lying about the improved ridership, because I take that bus and I know how many people are on the Carmel Valley bus and line 5, and it's the same. It's about 5 or 6 people. And then the Carmel Valley one is 2 or 3, if you count me. So where is this money going, and why can't the planners afford a van at least, so that we can cut our time and, get there faster. Everyone needs to rush about. We all are, terribly seduced by time, you might say, and we're living under a deadly blanket of brain-destroying particulates called magnekites, now known to significantly cause Alzheimer's and dementia in children and adults alike. And the only thing we have is a good mass transit system that's really friendly and gets you there as fast as it can. And Route 24 from the plaza right now it takes about an hour and 15 minutes to get to the village, and where it used to take at least just 40 minutes or less. And so a van, just a simple van, because there's not that many people taking that, would really help. And I'm asking you, please investigate and get on these buses so that you understand the inconvenience, what is happening. I recently heard a report that the oil companies are infiltrating our mass transit system, and I believe that's happening here, because with Measure X, they should be able to do better than this, and they're not. So please do this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Moffett, for your comments. So we'll move on. I don't see any additional hands raised for those that are joining us via Zoom. Okay, so with that, then we'll close the public comment section. And then we'll move on to our next item of business, which is our consent calendar. For today, we have consent calendar items 3-1 to 3-10. So do any directors wish to pull an item of the consent calendar for further discussion or comment? Okay, seeing none, I'll take it out to the public. Do any members of the public wish to pull an item from the consent calendar for discussion or comment? I see none in our boardroom. I'm going out to Zoom. Okay, I see none in our Zoom as well. So with that, I will entertain a motion to approve items 3-1 to 3-10. So moved.
Second.
So I have a motion on the floor, a first and a second. All in favor? Oh, we have to take roll call. Yes, roll call, please.
Director Barron,
Yes.
Director Shirley,
Yes.
Director Worthy.
Yes.
Director Rodriguez.
Yes.
Director De Leon,
Yes.
Director Vischer,
Yes.
Director Emilio,
Yes.
Director Asornio,
Yes.
Director Carbone,
Yes.
Director Pacheco.
Yes.
Director Velasquez
Yes.
and Director Alejo.
Aye.
Okay, and then the first was made by Director Carbone and the second was by Director Pacheco.
Oh, Pacheco.
Thank you, the motion.
Okay, thank you. The motion passes unanimously. So we'll move on to our next item of business. And this is, we'll move on. There is no public hearings today, so we'll move on to our action items. And we had two, but based on Mr. Sidoric's comment, 5-2 is going to be pulled and brought back later for a discussion.
Correct.
Okay, so we'll move on to item 5-1 is receive progress update on the SURF busway and bus rapid transit project and authorize general manager CEO to execute an agreement with the Transportation Agency of Monterey County for use of the Monterey branch line for SURF busway construction, long-term transit operations. And I'll turn this over to Ms. Lisa Reinheimer. This is on page 71 of our board packet.
Thank you, Chair and members of the board. This will be a reoccurring update for the board moving forward as we kick this project into high gear. We are in the final stages of moving into getting permits and hopefully that golden shovel and the groundbreaking later on this fall. But in the meantime, we have a lot of work to do. And so we felt like keeping the board informed of the progress and potential challenges would be helpful for you as well as us at staff. So as your chair mentioned, this is an authorization for your general manager, CEO, to execute a long-term agreement with TMC. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. So some of the project progress to date recently is we did receive a Federal Transit Administration letter of no prejudice in early January. And what that allows MST to do is proceed with procuring some early work packages, as well as paying for part of the construction management oversight consultant work. Some of the longer lead time items that we'll need to keep an eye on are the plant tree grow season. We have a lot of plants and a lot of trees we need to install as part of the project. And so having that many at a single nursery is really difficult to do. So we want to get ahead of that with the nurseries locally to be able to grow some of those plants and specifically trees, coast live oaks, Monterey cypress, that kind of thing. So that letter of no prejudice will help us pay for that, as well as steel manufacturing. We have to purchase steel and you have to get on a schedule. It has to be from America through the Build America, Buy America provisions of the Federal Transit Administration. We've identified a spot up in Washington State in order to do that. So we'll be coming back to the board with a contract for those, some of those items at a later date, March or April or May. Okay, so I mentioned in the staff report that the contract execution was pending for the construction management oversight consultant work, which the board had authorized in December. That contract was signed in its full executed state as of this morning. And so the notice to proceed has been issued to the oversight consultant work that'll help us out with getting through the rest of the permitting phase, as well as helping us negotiate a final contract with the construction company. I'm going to move on to some of the community outreach that we've been working on lately. I was at the Marina Farmers Market in late January. We were at Monterey Peninsula College also in late January. On Saturday, we had a pop-up site visit at the 5th Street Station area in the former Fort Ord. We had about 15 or so people from the public, as well as our 10 plus team members. Traipsing through the site and looking at specifically trees, but also we had an opportunity to envision the layout of that 4.5 acres of property where we will have a new station. We'll have park and ride facility there, as well as a pickup drop-off location and bicycle storage and repair station. So it's really truly a multimodal hub for the community in the Fort Ord area. We had a table at the Seaside Farmers Market last week, and we were able to say hello to 10, 15 people or so. At these tabling events, we have little things you can sign that urges the California Coastal Commission to grant a coastal development permit to the project, which we're working on at the moment. We submitted our initial application in late March, and we've gone through several rounds of iterations with the coastal staff. There's about 4.4 miles worth of the surf project that is in what's called original jurisdiction of the California Coastal Commission, outside of the local coastal programs that the cities are required to enact. So we've been working with the Central Coast staff and working on 5 additional project alternatives to the surf, including potentially running buses down the center of Highway 1 on the shoulder, or closing down one of the 2 of the 6 lanes, 1 in each direction. And we've been able to show the Coastal Commission that those are far and away much more invasive of environmentally sensitive habitat areas than what we're doing with the surf within the rail corridor. So that's been a process, to say it nicely. We keep going around and trying to give them as much data as they need to be able to recommend to the Coastal commission itself an approval of this project. So we'll be submitting hopefully our last and final submittal to them later on this month. In total, we have 37 permits or agreements that we have to finalize for this project. 7 are done. So we're working diligently with the local jurisdictions, Sand City, Marina, Seaside actually as well, to get our grading permits, construction permits, our building permits, encroachment permits, coastal development permits. There's a lot of permitting going on, as well as with Caltrans and the Air District. So a lot of balls in the air. A lot of what is happening with the local jurisdictions is dependent on some of the milestones that we're getting to. We're at 95% of design, which means we have really good, solid plans, but we need to get those through to construction documents so that the contractor can use those on the ground to build the project. One of the reasons why we were out at the 5th Street Station on Saturday was to host several members of the tree committee at within the city of Marina to get a sense of the layout of the project. We went to the tree committee in late January and they asked us to see if we could further reduce the number of trees that would need to be removed in order to make this project work. We had originally looked at 123 trees that needed to be removed in order to make this project work, and we reduced that down based on the 95% design to 92 trees. The committee wanted us to go back out and see if we could reduce that number further. So we did our due diligence out on site, and I don't know the answer quite yet. Hopefully, cross our fingers, we can save some more of the trees to make the tree committee happy. That will then, they will then make a recommendation to the planning committee, commission in Marina to authorize a tree removal permit for the project. Okay. Let's see, what else is going, okay, so let's talk about the use agreement with TMC real quick, and then I'll stop and answer questions for you. So some of the key provisions in that long-term use agreement with TMC, because they own the rail corridor, is that MST is allowed to construct and operate along their corridor over the long term. The corridor itself would be preserved for long-term use for rail operations in the future. The corridor is 100 feet wide generally, and MST is only using about 1/3 of that. So the remainder would be available for future rail use should that come about in the future. And when I say future, it's 20 years out easily, if not more. It's a very expensive project to return rail to the Monterey Peninsula for a number of different reasons I can get into, but I won't today. Let's see. And then the long-term nature of the agreement is tied to the useful life of the project as dictated by the Federal Transit Administration, and then option years to extend for even longer. So that's what we're those are some of the shenanigans we're up to with the SURF project, and the TMC board will consider this at their end of March meeting. I'll pause there and see if you have any questions for the project.
Yeah, thank you, Lisa, for that detailed report. I know we also have a lot of that information as well in our packets, but thank you so much. I know it's an ongoing project. I know we have some of the financial challenges that we had before. Now we have the funding. Now it's really dealing with a lot of the permitting processes and moving forward with that. So excited to see that moving along. I will open it up for questions from any of the board of directors, and then I will take it out to the public for questions. So directors, any questions on the report that Lisa provided? And also just to clarify, there is an approval. So there is a motion that needs to be made for, no?
Of the contract, yeah.
To approve that, to execute the agreement with TMC? Okay, so do we have any comments, directors that are joining us via Zoom? Okay, seeing none, then I will take it out.
I have a question for you,
Mhm.
if I could.
Not loud.
I don't know.
Wait a minute.
What
We'll have
the
an answer.
use agreement, is it the MST would maintain the facility, and also how much does the use agreement cost? So TMC is not charging us for using the corridor. And the obligation for MST would be that we would maintain our facilities within the corridor.
Okay. Yeah, and the details of some of those, the key provisions are in our packet in
Yeah.
terms of what that agreement does contain. Okay, thank you for that. So I will take it out to the public. I will open it up to the public. If there's any members of the public that are joining us here in our boardroom, have any comments, questions? Report 5-1. Okay, seeing none, then
We have 1705 online.
yes, we'll take it out to Zoom now.
I'm sorry.
So 1705, if you can please unmute.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm very, very concerned about this corridor. I think it's such an incredible waste of money to add 15 minutes of speed time to a MST that has the ability to be on the freeway. And it's going to wreak havoc for the environment like you wouldn't believe. When it needs to go to other situations, so that MST can purchase smaller vehicles to take people to places like the Village, because the ridership is so low, or electric buses, or whatever. This is, to me, the most disastrous, and my question to you is, because it's hard for me to hear what the person is saying who is doing the presentation. My question is, are you going to be tearing up the train tracks? Hello?
Yes, thank you for that question, and I will let Lisa respond to that.
Thank you. For the majority of the railroad corridor, the tracks will remain in place. There are several locations where we'll either pave over them and still keep them in place. There are other locations where small portions of the tracks will be removed.
Thank you. Thank you. And just as a reminder, you do have 3 minutes, so I know we wanted to respond to that, so you do have 1 minute and 20 seconds left. Yeah.
So do I have any additional time for comment?
You have 1 minute left, 1 minute and 5.
Yeah, okay. So I think it's imperative to stop this project and not allow all this money to go to this really, really disastrous plan. And instead, just leave the trees, which are the one thing that can absorb all the pollution from the cars. Leave all that and get on with coming up with plans that make everyone want to take MST, because it's quick and it's enjoyable, and the buses don't rattle and make such noise that you have to wear phones to protect your ears. I mean, these are things that are going to make mass transit something that people want to use. And it's going the other way for these absolutely useless, costly projects, to make it 15 minutes faster to go from one point to the other.
Has concluded.
There's other ways you can do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so with that, I don't see any additional hands raised from the public that's joining us via Zoom, so I will close the public comment portion. I will bring it back to our directors for any final comments or a motion to approve or authorize the general manager CEO to execute an agreement with TAMZ for the use of the Monterey branch line for the surf busway construction and long-term transit operations.
Motion for that.
Okay, so Director Emilio I have a motion, first from Director Leo, second from Director Orsolio.
It was Pacheco.
Pacheco.
Oh, Pacheco, thank you for clarifying. that. Director Pacheco, okay, and we'll get a roll call, please.
Okay, Director Barron.
Yes.
Director Shirley.
Yes.
Director Worthy.
Yes.
Director Rodriguez. Yes. Director DeLeon.
Yes.
Director Vischer.
Yes.
Director Smith.
Yes.
Director Emilio.
Yes.
Director Osonio.
Yes.
Director Carbone.
Yes.
Director Pacheco.
Yes.
Director Velasquez.
Yes.
And Director Alejo.
Director Alejo, are you still with us?
I think he's off.
I think he got disconnected.
Okay. The motion passed. Thank you.
We'll see if he connects back. We'll move
Wait,
on.
I think I hear,
Oh.
is that Jasmine? Someone speaking.
That was, the background from Councilmember De Leon.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay, so we'll move on then to our next item on our agenda. Then this time we'll move on to recognition and special presentations. We have 3 of those. We'll start with 6-1, February 2024 Employee of the Month, Humberto Hernandez is coach operator, and I'll turn this over to Mr. Marcet Henderson.
Morning, Board. Marzette Henderson, Transportation Manager with MST. Today, we are here to recognize Coach Operator Humberto Hernandez for Employee of the Month, February 2024. There's not a single event, but rather a collection of what he does every day that brought Humberto. We wanted to bring Humberto up for recognition today. We felt that his entire career was worthy of recognition. Humberto joined MST in January 1999. He excels with consistently performing at or above standard with no safety or performance record issues on his record for the past 25 years of his career. His attendance record is also impeccable. He has 0 sudden occurrence absences which is unscheduled absences over the past 2 years. And I'll just note that when I checked the database, our electronic database, which goes back as far as 16 years. He's had an average of less than 1%. I mean, 1 sudden occurrence absence per year. That includes during COVID. So his attendance record is amazing. Customer service record similarly impeccable. 0 confirmed negative comments in our database. Simply put, you never hear anything about Humberto, and I mean that in a good way. He clocks in, he performs his duties, he clocks out, and he flies under the radar, or I should say drives under the radar. He's a model employee, outstanding public transit ambassador, and highly respected by his peers and his supervisors, and is well-deserved recognition of his performance, dedication, and commitment to delivering service to our passengers and MST mission. Brings us with Humberto here today. So please join me in congratulating and recognizing Humberto.
For his 25 years of service, so we can do it all together in one as part of the recognition.
Yes. So agenda item 6.2, as you'll see in your agenda, Humberto's, and as I mentioned earlier, Humberto's been with us for 25 years, since January 1999. I've said everything I had to say, so I'll let Humberto speak.
I just wanna thank MST for considering me the employee of the month. You know, every day I try to come to work and do the best job I can and drive safe also. So thank you, MST.
Humberto, congratulations on behalf of the MST board. We just want to say thank you so much for your 25 years of service to all of our community members. It is really amazing, but your safety record, your attendance record is impeccable, and you're such a testament. I hope, our younger generation is looking at obviously our workforce that is so dedicated. And so thank you so much for all your contributions.
Thank you.
MST. Thank you.
So let's get a photo. Can you come up? Are they there? They are there.
We also have Umberto's daughter.
Great. Oh, wonderful. Umberto, we have a resolution and a plaque here, for you. And, you know, you're one of what I call the quiet heroes of
Yes.
MST.
Yes,
You know,
I'm very quiet.
You're very quiet.
Yeah.
Show up every day, your
Yes.
managers love you.
Yes, I try.
Your coworkers love you. And we all appreciate the 25 years of service to our community. And with that, I want to present you with this Employee of the Month resolution, as well as Employee of the Month pen, that you can wear on your lapel. And then your check has already been,
Yes.
you already got that.
Yeah, I already got it.
All right,
Thank you.
wonderful. That's the part. They want you to come
A
up in here
picture.
and we'll get a photo for social media. And for the family, you want to join us in the photo?
Oh, I was just gonna take you.
Okay. Come on in, come on in.
And then still the MST picture.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go. As- It's family that makes us all work, right? Come on in, Marzette. There we go. Great. Great.
No.
Hold on, we got one more. Now we have the official MSD one. That's the family one. Now this is for social media.
All right.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. Thank you for coming.
Okay, thank you.
It's,
Yeah.
25 years.
Few years.
So, Coach Operator Rivera couldn't make it. We want to bring him back next month.
Okay, thank you for that. So we have another recognition for 25 years of service for Mr. Raimundo Rivera, coach operator, but he is not with us today. So Marcet, we'll bring this back for the next meeting in March.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so with that, then we'll move on to our next item of business, which is reports and information items. So the board has been provided with various reports. Those begin at 7-1 to 7-5. So we'll start with the general manager CEO monthly reports for December of 2023. I'm just going to read through those, and if anyone has any questions, I'll pause. Federal legislative advocacy report, which is on page 95. We also have our state legislative advocacy update, which is on page 97. And the staff trip reports, pages 101 through 119. And then we have correspondence pages 121 to 123. And I do have a quick comment on the correspondence before we move on. I did see that there was a letter that came in. What's the letter?
Let's see. 121. 121?
Yeah, I think that's what the.
Yeah, we have that hospitality. There was a letter that came in and I'm trying to remember where I saw it from, Alliance on Aging.
Oh,
Was that?
that's a memo from staff, regarding the, from the December meeting. Your board received, public comment from the director of the Alliance on Aging. And page 89, and staff has provided your board, you know, some feedback on that. Basically, what's occurred is TAMC's Measure X funds were being used to support Alliance on Aging bus passes. They provide bus passes to seniors, but their definition of a senior is a little more liberal than our Measure Q definition. And so Measure Q funds are used for 65 years and older seniors and persons with disabilities. TAMC's funds had been used for previous to Measure X. They elected not to fund those passes this past year. That left Alliance on Aging, you know, in the middle. And so we have some options there for you to consider. We can bring this back to your board for action if you'd like us to have a further discussion on where we want to be. One option is to modify our group discount program to include nonprofit human service entities for eligibility for a 50% discount or and/or providing a letter of support from MST to TAMC to reconsider using their funds once again to support the Alliance on Aging clients. So that was just the quick feedback that we were able to provide to you from our last board meeting.
Thank you, Carl, for that. So I think, I know there was a discussion, can we bring it back then in March to have a discussion, a further discussion with the directors in regards to what are from the two recommendations, where do we want to proceed with? What do we want to proceed with?
Okay.
Okay.
Staff can bring that back, and we'll take that as a board member referral then. If I might, I have a couple things to comment on under the general manager's monthly report. In your board minutes that you approved on the consent agenda for the January meeting, there was a summary of what we discussed at the workshop. First of which was redesigning and reformatting of the agenda, which we just did. We got the business out of the way first and then went to announcements. So that seemed to work okay. Next, there was some discussion about Narcan at MST bus facilities. There is an article here that just really timely came out about a discussion about that issue nationwide. Narcan fentanyl overdose issues on transit systems across the country. MST is in communication with Monterey County Health. Our human resources and risk manager is working together with our insurance provider and has more information. We'll come back to your board as soon as we have a final recommendation and moving forward with that issue at MST, maybe next month. And then your committee received a 1-year update on the Better Bus Network that will be coming back to the full board in next month with, but what the committee heard is that, ridership is increasing across the board in many areas. So that was really good news. And finally, I wanted to thank the board members who participated in the driving skills course demonstration for the board members that got out on the bus drivers course. And my promise to the local news media, print and TV media, that we would give them an opportunity to embarrass some local public officials on that course proved true. And we got a good 3 minutes on the 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and the next morning 7 a.m. news from KSBW, and a full page article on the Monterey County Weekly demonstrating how we train bus drivers using our board members as an example. And that generated about 30, I think a little over 30 applications for bus drivers jobs came in over the coming days. We were able to, through the some work that was being done with cross-departmental operations, safety training, human resources, our drug testing and safety personnel all across the board, put in a streamlined recruitment process in advance of this. And we were able to, we're looking at tomorrow having 24 coach operators start our training program effective tomorrow. That is the largest single training class, I believe, in the history of this district. I know in the 24 years I've been here, we've not, I think 16 may be the largest that we've ever had. What's that? 15. Oh, thank you. 15 was the largest previous class back in like 2008, 2006. 2003. Okay, I keep throwing so it goes back a long time. I guess what I'm trying to say, thanks for keeping me on the up and up. We want to make sure that our facts are accurate. So we really want to thank the staff, and I'll be giving them certificates of appreciation and recognition for all that work. And just great. That wouldn't have been, I don't believe we would have had the response had your board members not agreed to go out and drive the bus, which attracted the media, which generated the story. So thank you all in being part of that.
Thank you. Well, that's innovation, right? So I've been struggling, so looking at different marketing techniques. So I'm glad that was successful and that now we have a pool of coach operator applications to be able to work with.
So we'll be doing it again for
Yeah.
board members who didn't get to participate, who didn't get to smash some cones. We'll get you out there
I do
again.
see Director Alejo has his hand up. Director Alejo, do you want to mute yourself? Director Alejo, I see you.
Oh, there.
Yes,
Okay.
it requires staff to let me unmute. That's why it takes us a delay.
Yep.
But I just wanted to support the previous comments by Carl on the bus passes for the Alliance on Aging. I've spoken to John McPherson, the executive director, and it would be nice to have an opportunity to hear from him and the impact that it's had on the end of those bus passes that were previously available to seniors, not only from Salinas, but throughout Monterey County to access their services. So I appreciate, Carl, you willing to bring this forward next month and hopefully give a few minutes to John McPherson and also talk to the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Alejo, for those comments. Thank you, Carl. And then I just have a really quick comment on the Narcan issue. Thank you for providing that article. I just recently heard some data in regards to fentanyl use, and it's pretty staggering and pretty shocking in terms of Monterey County. So can you also, as staff is working with the health department, can we also request data on some of those numbers for that increased use within Monterey County?
Yep.
Okay, so any final comments on the reports and information items? Okay, seeing none, then we'll move on to our next item, which is board reports, comments, and referrals. Reports on meetings attended by board members at MST expense. I don't think we don't have any to report. We'll move on to next item, board member comments and announcements. So board members directly, do we have any comments or announcements at this time? Okay, seeing none, then we'll move on to board member referrals for future agenda items, and we have the
Alliance on Aging.
Alliance on Aging that's coming back as a board referral item. Any additional referral items for future agenda?
The Narcan.
And the Narcan?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have Narcan and Alliance on Aging. Okay, seeing none, then thank you. We'll move on then to the next item, which are our detailed attachments. And in your items under the monthly reports for December 2023, everybody had the access to those reports. Any questions or comments on those reports? Okay, seeing none, then we will move into our closed session item. Thank you, directors. And for today, we do have 3 closed session items. We have item 10-1, conference with real property negotiator pursuant to Government Code Section 5495-6.8, property parcel L 2.4.31 and parcel L 2.432, southwest corner 7th and Colonel Durham, former Fort Ord, City of Seaside. Excuse me. Have to get off.
Yeah. Would you like me to read for you?
Yes.
Okay, where are we? Sure. So negotiating parties on that item, Monterey Salinas Transit District, Carl Stewart, property owner, Monterey Salinas Transit, interested party, City of Seaside. Under negotiation is a transfer of property to Seaside, terms and price. Items 10-2 will be conference with labor negotiators. Under Government Code Section 54.957.6, MSTEA, the Monterey Salinas Transit Employee Association, and MST, Kelly Halcon. And then item 10-3 is conference with legal counsel under sections 54.956.9, subdivision 2, threat of litigation based on one demand, executive facility services, a court case number not yet assigned. So those conclude our closed session items. We'd be interested in seeing if there's any members of the public who'd like to make a comment before we go to closed session. Is that what you were going to say?
Exactly.
Okay, thank you. I don't want to make sure you're not here.
Okay, any members of the public? Seeing none here in our chamber, none in our via Zoom, then the directors will recess the closed session and we'll be back for adjournment. Thank you.
All right, you got some water?
I
Oh,
know.
okay.
On my way there.
Well,
Getting that done.
We have everyone back. Okay, thank you. So now we're reconvening from our closed session and I will turn it over to our legal counsel for a report out.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So the board did meet in closed session on 3 items. For item 1, for the first item 10-1, this was conference with real property negotiators. Pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8. This was a property located within Seaside. And we discussed the transfer of the property, terms and price and conditions thereof. General direction was provided, but this will return back to the board in closed session. Regarding item 10-2, this is conference with labor negotiators under Government Code Section 54957.6. This is MSTEA and MST. In that, the board did elect to open the negotiations and pursue that path. In item 10-3, conference with legal counsel under Government Code Section 54956.9 subsection D2. Threat of litigation. Based off of one demand, the board did meet and review the facts of that case and was received general direction, but no reportable action. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Thank you. And with that, there's no further business, no further items of business to discuss. And this meeting is adjourned at 11:45 and we'll see everybody at our next meeting on March 11th at 10.